My name is Ed Anderson. I'm 63 years old, and I spent 35 years as a police inspector in a major city. Tonight, I'm telling you how my life turned upside down because of a single phone call, one I got in the middle of the night from my 16-year-old grandson, Ethan. He was crying, saying he was locked up at the precinct because his stepfather, Carter, had accused him of assault. What I uncovered that night started a war against corruption, one even I, with decades of experience, wasn't prepared for. But before I tell you how everything unraveled, I need a favor. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and tell me where you're watching from. Your support genuinely matters, and it might just save a life. The phone rang at 3:14 a.m. At that hour, everything feels louder, sharper, heavier. In my years on the force, I learned one thing. Late-night calls never bring good news. I grabbed my cell half awake and answered, "Grandpa." Ethan's voice was shaky, terrified. "I'm at the 7th precinct. They arrested me. Carter said I attacked him, but it's not true. He hit me first." That snapped me fully awake. "Are you hurt? Are you okay?" I asked, fumbling for my pants in the dark. "My face hurts. I'm scared. The inspector here is friends with Carter. He doesn't believe me. Please come. Don't move. Don't say anything. I'm on my way." I got dressed quickly, trying to clear my head. Carter Vance, Ethan's stepfather. Trouble from the first day I met him. My daughter Mary died 5 years ago in a car accident. A year later, Grace, Ethan's mother, married Carter. I never understood why. He was a smooth-talking businessman with the kind of connections people brag about but shouldn't trust. Before leaving, I grabbed my old inspector's badge. It was expired, sure, but it still carried enough weight to make people think twice. I drove through the empty streets, unease turning in my stomach. Ethan was a good kid, quiet, careful, never violent. If he was in a holding cell, something was very, very wrong. The 7th precinct was a place I knew well. 10 years of my life were spent inside that building. The familiar smell of stale coffee and disinfectant hit me the moment I entered. At the front desk, a young officer was typing away. "Good morning. I'm Ed Anderson, former inspector. My grandson, Ethan Alvarado, is being held here. I want to see him." She barely looked up. One moment. She made a call. "Inspector Camacho, the grandfather of the detainee, is here." A moment later, the inner door opened and Victor Camacho stepped out. Heavy-set, graying mustache, shifty eyes. I knew him, and I never liked him. Well, Ed Anderson," he said with a smug smile. "Long time no see." "I'm not here to catch up," I replied. "Where's my grandson? And what exactly is he being accused of?" "Come to my office." As we walked down the hallway, I glanced toward the cells. Ethan was sitting on a bench, head down, bruised. I tried to go to him, but Camacho blocked me. Later, we talked first. Inside his office, I noticed a framed photo on his desk. Camacho on a hunting trip with a group of men. One face stood out. Carter Vance. Of course. Camacho leaned back in his chair. "Your grandson assaulted his stepfather, split his lip, almost broke his nose. Carter's at the hospital getting checked." He clicked on a computer and played the supposed evidence, a short clip from a home security camera. It showed Carter walking into a room, talking. Ethan entered, upset. Then the clip cut to Ethan pushing him. That was it. "Where's the rest of the footage?" I asked. "That's all we have." "No, Victor, that's all you're showing me." Camacho shrugged. "Carter is pressing charges, and the kid has a history of aggressive behavior at school." "That's a lie. Ethan has never caused trouble." "I have reports that say otherwise." My jaw tightened. "Enough. I want to see my grandson. Now." "5 minutes," Camacho muttered. When I entered the cell, Ethan stood up, his black eye, cut eyebrow, and swollen lip hit me like a punch to the gut. "Grandpa," his voice cracked. I hugged him. "I'm getting you out. Tell me what happened." "Carter came home drunk. Accused me of stealing money. When I said I didn't, he punched me. I pushed him away, and he hit the table. Then he called the police and said I attacked him. Where was your mom? In Dallas for work. She's back tomorrow. Then he whispered, trembling, It's not the first time, Grandpa. He hits me and says no one will believe me. I felt my blood pressure spike. You're not staying here. I promise. Outside, I confronted Camacho. My grandson is covered in injuries. Why isn't Carter detained too? Vance says Ethan resisted arrest. That's where the injuries came from. That's nonsense. And you know it. I want a doctor to examine him immediately. It's late, Ed. It's never too late to do things right. Call a doctor, or I call the DA, and report your irregularities. He hesitated, then sighed. Fine, I'll call. While he walked away, I pulled out my phone and dialed a number I hadn't used in years. Lieutenant Roberts, a firm voice answered. Who is this? It's Ed Anderson. I need your help. Lieutenant April Roberts, one of the best. Sharp, honest, unshakable. I'm on duty tonight, she said. I can be there in 20 minutes. I owe you. When she arrived, her presence shifted the entire room. Mid-30s, confident, focused. Inspector Anderson, she said, shaking my hand. Been a while. Not an inspector anymore, I said. You'll always be one to me. Camacho came out of his office with Carter behind him. The moment he saw April, he stiffened. Lieutenant Roberts, what brings you here? Routine verification. I want to review the case file and see the detainee. Carter immediately extended his hand. Carter Vance, the victim. April didn't shake it. Authorized personnel only, Mr. Vance. His face twitched, and for the first time that night, I felt hope. I have a right to be present, Carter insists. Not during the medical exam. April says firmly, wait here. Carter shoots me a furious look, as if I'm personally responsible for ruining whatever plan he came in with. He drops into a waiting room chair, tapping his fingers restlessly against the armrest. April gestures for me to follow. We step into the holding cell, where the doctor is already examining Ethan. He takes photos, measures each injury, and notes everything carefully on an official report form. Can you explain how you got these injuries? The doctor asks. Ethan looks at me first, unsure. I nod gently, giving him permission. My stepfather hit me, he says quietly. He punched me here, he points his eye, and then shoved me into the wall. I hit my head on a shelf and cut my eyebrow. When did this happen? Tonight, a little after 11. The doctor continues documenting. When he finishes, he steps back and looks at April. These injuries match his statement. The periorbital hematoma, the black eye, appears to be from a blow roughly 4 to 5 hours old. The eyebrow cut looks like it came from hitting a hard edge, not a fist. April nods. Thank you, doctor. I need your report as soon as possible. You'll have it within the hour. When he leaves, April looks at me, her voice low but sharp. This contradicts Camacho's report. Of course it does, I tell her. He's covering for Carter. I also checked the video, she adds. Something's wrong. The metadata shows it was edited 2 hours ago. The original footage has to be longer. Can you get it? Not without a warrant. To get that, I need proof the evidence was tampered with. Ethan suddenly speaks up. Our neighbor, Mrs. Clean, she has cameras pointed toward our driveway. She's always recording. Says people steal her flower pots. April's eyes brighten with hope. Do you know her address? 247 Jacaranda Drive, Valley Neighborhood. I'm heading there right now, April says decisively. If her footage shows anything, we can flip this case upside down. I'll stay with him, I tell her. She nods. I won't leave him alone, Grandpa, she promises softly. And trust me, this whole thing stinks. Corruption always does. After she leaves, I sit beside Ethan on the narrow bench. He looks exhausted, frightened, but there's a stubborn strength in his eyes that I've always admired. Does Mom know? He asks quietly. Not yet. I hope to get this sorted before worrying her. She's going to take Carter's side, he says bitterly. She always does. Your mother loves you, Ethan, I say gently. But sometimes love blinds us. Carter manipulates her, he whispers. He makes her think I'm the problem, that I disrespect him. And she believes him because he swallows hard, because he has money, because she's scared of being alone. It hurts to hear, but he's right. Grace never fully recovered from my daughter Mary's death. Carter appeared at exactly the moment she was most vulnerable. We're going to fix this, I promise him. But afterwards, you and I are going to talk about everything that's been happening in that house. Time crawls inside the precinct. Camacho walks by often, giving us anxious glances. Carter remains in the waiting room, whispering on his phone, his foot bouncing nervously. Nearly 2 hours pass before the main door opens. April walks back in, this time with District Attorney Melinda Moss and an elderly woman holding a cell phone. Mrs. Clean. Camacho's face drains of color. Carter stands, startled. Inspector Camacho, the DA says, her voice cutting to the room like a blade. I've been informed of multiple irregularities. Show me the file and the video. Now. Camacho leads her to his office, sweating bullets. April walks over to us. We found something, she says quietly. Mrs. Clean had footage from earlier this week. Carter shoved Ethan against the door, and we found audio too. He threatened him. For the first time all night, hope settles in my chest like air after drowning. Thank you, I say genuinely. Don't thank me yet, April replies. This night is far from over. Inside the office, I see shadows moving, papers pointed at, voices raised. Carter sits alone, gripping his phone with white knuckles. Mrs. Clean approaches Ethan's cell with April. Despite her age, her eyes are sharp and unflinching. So you're the grandpa, she says briskly. The boy talks well about you. Thank you for coming. It's Mrs. Clean, she corrects. And don't thank me. That man, she nods toward Carter, is a devil in disguise. I've seen how he acts when he thinks no one's watching. Ethan's eyes soften with gratitude. I even brought you a donut, but they wouldn't let me give it to you, she grumbles. Said it might have a file in it. She lets out a dry laugh, as if I know how to do that. Finally, the office door opens. D.A. Moss emerges first, her expression severe. Camacho follows, pale and stiff. Mr. Anderson, she says, approaching the cell. I'm District Attorney Moss. We reviewed the case, and I found significant procedural violations. Carter rushes over with a fake, polished smile. D.A. Moss, a pleasure. She cuts him off without even looking at him. Mr. Vance, contact a lawyer. Immediately. A lawyer? But I'm the victim. That remains to be seen. She turns to April. Lieutenant Roberts, release Mr. Alvarado. His detention was improper. April unlocks the cell, unable to hide her satisfaction. I can go. Ethan asks, barely believing it. Yes, Moss confirms. But both of you must remain available for statements. Carter loses what little composure he has left. This is unacceptable, just letting him walk out. Mr. Vance, the DA snaps. We reviewed recordings showing a very different story. Evidence tampering is a federal offense. If you want to avoid worse charges, I suggest you lower your voice and cooperate. Carter goes pale. Camacho looks like he might pass out. Inspector Camacho, the DA continues, you are suspended pending investigation. Surrender your badge and weapon. His jaw tightens with rage, but he complies. We leave the precinct as dawn breaks. The morning air feels like freedom. Ethan walks beside me, drained but breathing easier. Where are we going, Grandpa? To my house. You're not going back there. Not now. At home, I make coffee while Ethan showers. I give him some old clothes. Eventually, we sit at the kitchen table, steam rising from our mugs. How long has this been happening? I ask. He stares into his cup. Since they got married. First it was yelling, then insults, then worse. And your mother? He always did it when she wasn't there. And when I told her, he convinced her I was lying. When did it turn violent? 6 months ago. He came home drunk, lost money. blamed me, hit me, then apologized and gave me money so I wouldn't tell Mom. I bite back my anger. Why didn't you call me? I didn't want to ruin Mom's happiness. She finally seemed okay after Dad died. Before I can respond, my phone rings. Grace. Dad. Her voice is thin and shaking. Carter says Ethan attacked him and that you interfered. What is going on? I explain everything, calmly. She doesn't believe it. At least not at first. Carter would never. Your son's face is bruised. I say, his eyebrow is split open. Did he do that to himself? Silence. I'm coming over, she finally says. But she doesn't come alone. When the doorbell rings, Carter stands beside her. What is he doing here? I demand. He's my husband, Grace says weakly. We need to resolve this as a family. A family doesn't beat its children. Carter puts on his wounded act. Mr. Anderson, this was a misunderstanding. I would never hurt Ethan. Save it, I snap. The DA has footage. His mask slips for a second. That meddling old woman twisted everything, he mutters. The discipline, you call it? A voice interrupts. April stands behind them. Uniform crisp, expression stony. Mr. Vance, she says coldly, I have a warrant to seize your home's electronic devices, including your surveillance system. This is an invasion of privacy. It's signed by Judge Espinoza, she says, holding it up, and the DA wants your formal statement this afternoon. Grace looks shaken. Dad, what is happening? Ethan appears at the doorway, eyes wide. What is he doing here? Ethan. Grace starts gently. Carter says, a misunderstanding? Ethan cuts in. He hit me, Mom, like he's done so many times. And he threatened me. Carter steps forward angrily. Stop lying, you ungrateful. Mr. Vance, April warns sharply, stepping between them. Any attempt to intimidate him will be added to your charges. Carter's face twists. This isn't over. I have powerful friends. Those friends are being investigated too, April replies calmly. Grace looks between all of us, overwhelmed. I need to see the recordings, she whispers. I need to know the truth. You already know it, I say gently. You just haven't wanted to see it. Realizing he's losing everything, Carter snaps, his mask finally shattering. You asked for this, old man, he snarls at me. This won't end well for either of you. He storms off toward his car. Let him go. I tell April quietly. He won't get far. April nods. He should have come voluntarily. Now I'll have to arrest him. Will he? He still thinks he's untouchable. But his world is collapsing fast. The DA has all the videos, and she's furious. She pauses, lowering her voice. And when Melinda Moss is angry, things move very fast. April gives me a long, serious look. Watch your grandson, Inspector. Men like him are most dangerous when they feel control slipping away. After she leaves, I head back inside. Grace is sitting on the sofa with her head buried in her hands. Ethan is in the kitchen, quietly making tea for her. Why didn't I see it? Grace whispers when I sit beside her. How could I have been so blind? Love blinds us, I tell her gently. Carter is a skilled manipulator. You're not the first person he fooled, and you won't be the last. She breaks down. My own son. I didn't protect him. You can protect him now, I say softly. By leaving Carter. By testifying. Grace looks up, and for the first time in a long while, I see determination in her eyes. I will. He's never touching my son again. The next few hours pass quietly, almost eerily calm. Grace and Ethan talk for a long time in the guest room. I keep myself busy in the kitchen, cooking food. No one is hungry enough to eat. The phone rings nonstop. The DA, April, even reporters who somehow caught wind of the case. I give everyone the same answer. We'll talk later. After Ethan finally falls asleep that evening, Grace joins me on the porch. I never imagined things would end like this, she murmurs. When I met Carter, he seemed perfect, stable, attentive, everything I thought I needed. Manipulators always start out perfect. I say, There were signs, she admits. Little lies, controlling comments, but I kept brushing them off. What will you do now? Divorce him, she says. Testify. And try to fix things with Ethan. My phone buzzes. A message from April. Carter never showed up for his statement. A warrant has been issued. A chill covers me. A trapped man like Carter is the most dangerous kind. Grace sees my expression. What's wrong? Nothing urgent, I tell her, not wanting to add to her anxiety. Try to rest. That night, I barely sleep. Every sound jolts me awake. At 5 a.m., the phone rings again. April, we found Carter's car abandoned near the airport, but he hasn't boarded any flights. We think he's using fake documents or he has help. Check his accounts. Frozen since last night. And we're watching all his properties. Watch Camacho, too. I warn. We are constant surveillance. 2 days pass with no sign of Carter. Ethan begins to relax. Grace files for divorce and submits a formal report for domestic abuse. The investigation grows wider. Carter is tied to shady deals and corrupt officials. On the third morning, Grace insists on returning to her house to pick up a few things. I offer to go with her, but she shakes her head. The police watch the house all night, she says. Carter isn't there. Plus, I'm going to officer. I don't like it. Something feels wrong. Call me when you get there, and before you leave. I will, she promises. Ethan and I stay home and play chess to distract ourselves. He's good, patient, observant, just like his father. Then the phone rings. I expect Grace's voice. Instead, it's Carter. Listen carefully. Old man, he snarls. Your daughter-in-law is with me. If you ever want to see her again, bring Ethan to the warehouse on 54 Industrial Avenue. 1 hour. Just you two. If I see a single cop, Grace dies. Carter, don't do this. 1 hour. He hangs up. Ethan is watching me, reading my expression like an open book. Is it Mom? She's fine, I say, though my voice betrays me. But I need you to stay here while I handle something. It's Carter, isn't it? Ethan whispers. What did he do? Before I can answer, my phone rings again. It's April. Inspector! Grace never arrived at her house. The officer escorting her was found unconscious. Carter has her. He just called me. I say, he wants Ethan and me at an abandoned warehouse in 1 hour. Don't go alone. It's a trap. I know, but he'll kill her if I don't. Send me units quietly. I give her the address and hang up. Ethan steps closer. I'm going with you. No, it's too dangerous. She's my mom, he says, voice trembling but determined. And this is happening because of me. This is not your fault, I tell him firmly. None of it. If you don't take me, I'll go alone. He means it, and if I leave him here, he'll try to follow. That might be worse. Fine, I say finally, but you follow my lead. No exceptions. I understand. The drive to the warehouse feels endless. Ethan sits beside me, hands shaking, but eyes steady. Before leaving the house, I tucked my old service pistol into my waistband. A gun I prayed I'd never need again. Do you have a plan? Ethan asks quietly. April's sending undercover units. I say, we won't be alone. What if they're late? What if he hurts Mom? I won't let that happen, I promise, but my stomach tightens. A message from April comes through. Team in position in 15 minutes. Wait, we don't have 15 minutes. Industrial Avenue is a long, quiet stretch of abandoned buildings. The warehouse Carter mentioned sits at the far end. Broken windows, rusted metal, graffiti everywhere. A perfect place for a trap. I park a block away. A black sedan with tinted windows sits near a side entrance. Stay in the car. I say automatically, Grandpa, we both have to go. He's right. I hate it, but he's right. Before I can respond, Carter calls again. I see you. Get inside. Now, or Grace dies. Carter, don't hurt her. 2 minutes. I look at Ethan. Every instinct in me screams to protect him. But I also know we're out of time. Stay behind me, no matter what. He nods. We push open the warehouse door. It creaks loudly in the silence. The inside is dim, filled with dust and rusted machinery. Shadows stretch across the floor. Carter. I call. We're here. Back here, his voice echoes. We move toward the open space at the back. And then I see them, Carter gripping Grace by the arm. She's crying but alive. Mom! Ethan cries, stepping forward. I stop him with an arm across his chest. Easy. We're here, I tell Carter. Let her go. He gives a bitter laugh. You think this is simple? You ruined my life, old man, my reputation, my business, everything. You did that to yourself. I say calmly. No one forced you to hurt a child. The brat needed discipline. Carter snarls, tightening his grip until Grace winces. And you always meddling. Let her go, Carter, Grace pleads. Please, you're only making things worse. Shut up, he shouts, shaking her. You betrayed me, both of you. He's unraveling fast. His eyes are wild. He looks like a man who's lost everything and is ready to burn the world down with him. What do you want? I ask, keeping him talking. I want my life back. I want the charges dropped. I want the DA off my back. And I want this brat, he points at Ethan, to retract every lie. They're not lies, Ethan says quietly. You destroyed your own life. Every punch, every threat, every time you fooled my mom. You did that. Carter snaps. He shoves Grace aside and lunges for Ethan. It's the moment I've been waiting for. I step between them instantly. Don't touch him. Or what? Carter spits. What are you going to do, old man? He pushes me hard. He expects me to fall. I don't move an inch. Stay away from my family. I warn him. He smirks, cold, hateful. Your family? How touching. He turns as if to walk away, then suddenly whips around and throws a punch. I barely dodge it. The sudden movement makes me stumble back, giving Carter the opening he needs to pull something from his waistband. A revolver. He points it straight at me. Now, we're going to talk seriously, he says, his calm chilling me to the bone. You and I know how this works. Ed, men like us understand a language of power. Put the gun down, Carter. The police are on their way. Of course they are, he replies with a cold smile. I was expecting them, but by the time they get here, we'll have already settled our business. Grace takes advantage of the distraction to move toward Ethan, hugging him protectively. Carter looks at them with contempt. Look at the happy family. How sweet, Carter. I try to reason with him. You can still get out of this. Put the gun down. Surrender. Cooperate with the DA. Maybe they'll make a deal. A deal? He laughs, a hollow, terrifying sound. No, Ed, men like me don't make deals. We either win or... He leaves the sentence hanging, but his eyes say it all. A faint noise drifts from behind me. Someone has entered the warehouse. I keep my face neutral, not wanting to alert Carter. Why don't we let Grace and Ethan leave? I suggest, this is between you and me. They're part of this. Carter snaps, waving the gun. They're my insurance. The noise grows louder. Carter tenses, scanning the shadows. Who's there? He yells. Show yourself or I shoot. I take advantage of his distraction, moving closer to Grace and Ethan, positioning myself between them and Carter. If he shoots, he'll have to go through me first. Police! April's voice echoes across the warehouse. Drop the weapon, Mr. Vance. Carter's expression shifts, surprised, but not afraid. Lieutenant Roberts. How predictable. Did you come alone or bring backup? You're surrounded. Vance. There's no way out. There are always ways out, Lieutenant, he says, adjusting his stance. You just need the right incentive. I glance into the shadows, spotting April partially hidden behind a column, her weapon trained on him. Let them go, Carter, she says firmly. More units are on their way. In minutes, this place will be swarming with officers. Then we don't have much time, he growls. Suddenly, he points the gun at Ethan. Either you let me walk out of here, or the kid pays for everything. Everything happens in an instant, without thinking. I lunge at Carter just as he pulls the trigger. The shot reverberates through the warehouse, deafening. Pain sears through my shoulder, but I manage to tackle him to the ground. The gun skitters across the concrete floor. April rushes from the shadows. Grace screams, holding Ethan, who is miraculously unharmed. Despite the pain, adrenaline gives me the strength to keep Carter pinned until April cuffs him. "Are you okay, Inspector?" April asks, noticing the blood spreading across my shirt. "It's just a scratch." I lie, gritting my teeth. "Take care of him." More officers flood in, securing the warehouse. A first aid kit is pressed into my hands while Carter is hauled to his feet, screaming threats. "This isn't over," he shouts. "I have powerful friends. I'll get revenge on all of you." Grace and Ethan rush to my side. "Grandpa, you're bleeding a lot," Ethan says, tears in his eyes. "I've had worse," I reply, though the pain is sharp. "An ambulance is on the way," April reassures me. As the paramedics apply pressure to my shoulder, I glance at my family. Despite the terror they endured, relief shines on their faces. Carter can't hurt them anymore. In the ambulance, with Grace and Ethan beside me, a strange calm settles over me. The wound hurts, but it's a reminder that we survived together. "Thank you, Dad," Grace whispers, squeezing my hand, "for saving us." "I always will," I reply, feeling the sedative take effect. "I'll always be there for you." The days in the hospital pass slowly. The bullet grazed the bone but caused no serious damage. Doctors assure me I'll regain full mobility with a few weeks of therapy. April visits regularly, updating me on the case. Carter faces multiple charges: kidnapping, aggravated assault, child abuse, attempted homicide, obstruction of justice. Camacho has also been charged with cover-up and evidence tampering. DA Moss has expanded the investigation, uncovering a web of corruption involving city officials. One afternoon, Ethan helps me with my hospital meal. He looks unusually thoughtful. "What's on your mind, son?" I ask. "I was thinking about everything that happened, how one man can cause so much harm. Some men confuse power with the right to abuse others. It's a hard lesson," I tell him, "but an important one. I think I want to study law," he says suddenly. "I want to help people like us, people facing injustice." I smile, pride swelling in my chest. "You'll be an excellent lawyer, Ethan." "It's all thanks to you, Grandpa," he says, eyes misty. "If I hadn't called you that night." "But you did," I interrupt, "and that shows the kind of man you are." DA Moss enters, tired but satisfied. "Inspector Anderson, I'm glad to see you recovering," she says. The judge has denied bail for Carter Vance. He'll remain in custody until the trial. Camacho is also cooperating, providing information on the corruption network. She looks at Ethan. "Your testimony will be crucial. Can you do it?" Ethan nods firmly. "I'm ready." The DA sits on my bedside, explaining a new protocol being implemented to prevent digital evidence manipulation in domestic violence cases. "It's called the Anderson Protocol," she says, smiling slightly. "In honor of you and your grandson." Ethan beams. "Did you hear that, Grandpa? Our name will be part of the justice system. Our victory belongs to both of us." I correct him. Grace joins us, bringing coffee and pastries, her cheeks flushed with renewed energy. "Good news?" she asks, noticing our expressions. "The best," Ethan says, telling her about the Anderson Protocol. "Dad," Grace whispers, gratitude and remorse in her eyes, "I can never thank you enough. I was there," I say simply, "and I always will be." Later, alone in my hospital room, I reflect. The terror, the frustration, the pain, but also the courage of Ethan, April's tenacity, DA Moss's integrity. The system isn't perfect. There are Carters and Camachos, but there are also those who fight for justice. A text from April buzzes on my nightstand. Case officially closed. The trial will be quick. Get some rest, Inspector. I smile in the dim light. My career as a cop may be over, but my fight for justice continues through Ethan. My shoulder aches, but it's a small price for our safety. Tomorrow, discharge. Tomorrow, real healing begins. Not just my wound, but the invisible scars Carter left on Ethan and Grace. Weeks later, the courthouse is crowded. I lean on a cane, shoulder healing, but still tender. Ethan walks beside me, taller, more confident than the scared teenager from that night. Today is sentencing day. After a 3-week trial, the judge announces, Carter Vance, guilty on all counts. You are sentenced to 22 years in prison, with no possibility of parole for 15 years. Victor Camacho, guilty of abuse of authority, cover-up, and obstruction of justice, sentenced to 12 years, with a review possible after 8 years. Both defendants must pay restitution to the victims, to be determined later. Ethan exhales. Grace sobs quietly beside me. D.A. Moss nods. Justice served, she says. Thank your grandson. His testimony was crucial. I just told the truth, Ethan says shyly. Walking out through a side door to avoid reporters, I glance at my family. The day is bright and warm. Let's get something to eat, Grace suggests. We need to celebrate this. At the restaurant, I watch my family. There's a lightness to them I haven't seen in years. The shadows haven't completely disappeared, but they feel thinner, more manageable. Have you decided which university you're applying to? I ask Ethan. I'm looking at the state university, he replies. They have an excellent law program, and D.A. Moss said she could recommend me for a special mentorship program. That's a great opportunity, Grace says, pride shining in her voice. And I just got a new job. I add, I start next month as a supervisor at my company. Everything's looking up. To new beginnings, I say, raising my glass. We toast. And for a moment, the past feels like a distant country we finally left behind. The following weeks settle into a new routine. My shoulder heals enough to ditch the cane. Ethan works on his university applications with renewed determination. Grace spends more time at my house than in her own apartment, slowly reclaiming her life. One afternoon, I get a call from April. Inspector, we have a date for the official Anderson Protocol presentation. This Friday at 11 a.m. in the main auditorium. The DA would like you and Ethan to share a few words about your experience. When I tell Ethan, I see the excitement in his eyes. It's a chance to help others who are going through what we went through. The day of the presentation, the auditorium is full. Police officers, DAs, judges. D.A. Moss explains the new protocol, a set of procedures designed to safeguard the integrity of digital evidence in domestic violence and child abuse cases. It includes metadata verification, reinforced chains of custody, and independent forensic analysis. This protocol was born from a case that revealed serious flaws in our system. When it's my turn, I stand and speak. For 35 years, I serve as a police inspector. I thought I understood the system, its strengths and weaknesses. But it wasn't until my own grandson was trapped in it that I truly realized how vulnerable victims of domestic abuse really are. I briefly tell our story, emphasizing the crucial support from people like April Roberts and D.A. Moss. When Ethan takes a microphone, his voice is clear and strong. He addresses the young people in the audience, describing the subtle signs of abuse he had initially ignored, the psychological manipulation, the fear. If you are going through something similar, know that you are not alone, he says. There are people who will believe you. You just need to take that first step. Make that call like I did. The room erupts in applause. Months pass. Ethan is accepted to the state university. Grace finalizes her divorce. I return to my old hobbies, enjoying the simple routines I had once taken for granted. Almost a year later, I receive an official envelope. Carter's appeal has been denied. I don't mention it to Ethan or Grace. There's no reason to disturb the peace they've worked so hard to find. The next morning, Ethan comes over for breakfast, grinning. I have something to show you, he says, pulling a paper from his bag. An acceptance letter for a summer law program. That's impressive, I tell him. D.A. Moss recommended me, he says. She thinks I have potential for the domestic violence prosecution unit. The path he's chosen won't be easy. But there's a strength in him, a resilience born from his own pain. You know what's strange, Grandpa, he says. Sometimes I think about Carter, and I don't feel fear or hatred anymore. Just pity. I guess that's part of healing. Do you still hate him? I ask. I consider it. Let's just say I don't waste energy on him. I focus it on you, on our family, on the good that came from all of this. And it's true. The Anderson Protocol is being adopted in other states. Ethan has found his calling. Grace has reclaimed her life. That weekend, we have a small celebration at my house. Grace brings food. Ethan brings friends from his support group. Mrs. Klein even shows up with donuts. I watch this new, expanded family, feeling gratitude and hope. April approaches me. Did you know 3 other states are adopting the protocol? She says. They're even considering it at a national level. And I'm made captain. Congratulations, Captain. I say. Well deserved. Thanks, Inspector. I owe part of it to you and Ethan, she replies. As the party continues, I step onto porch. The sky is painted orange. I think about contrasts. While we celebrate, Carter serves a sentence. While Ethan builds a future, Camacho's career lies in ruins. I don't feel satisfaction, only the certainty that justice, though imperfect and slow, has arrived. Ethan comes out to find me. Everything okay, Grandpa? You're missing dessert. Just thinking, I say, putting my arm around his shoulders, about how proud I am of you, of the man you become. Thanks to you, he replies, resting his head on my shoulder. If I hadn't made that call. But you did. I interrupt, and that changed everything. We head back inside. Grace greets us with a warm smile, a lightness in her face that reminds me of the young woman I once knew. As we eat dessert, I think about all the phones that rang in the dead of night, all the trembling voices asking for help. Our story didn't end like a fairy tale. Real life rarely does. But it gave us something just as valuable. The chance to turn pain into purpose, fear into determination, and trauma into a legacy that can protect countless others. And maybe, in the end, that's the most important victory of all.